So if you're like me and you can't seem to catch anything on a jig but an attitude, I got some tips, that I've learned kind of going through and checking all what the pros are doing, what other guys are doing. I'm seeing on the shore, talking to some of those old fellas that just live and die by the jig. And so I got some tips, so that might just kind of help make things a little easier for you. So, for the first of it, you got to understand how a jig works. A jig pretty much replicates a crawl for the most part. And a jig, as you pull it, your fringe, this is where a lot of your activity goes on, and your fringe pretty much as you stop it and pause, it'll begin to flare up, kind of like a crawl does with its claws, and then they kick down. So pretty much that's what happens with the fringe. They kick up and then they kick back down. So you got to kind of understand what the action of your lures. So what you're doing is, just trying to pause it. So these kind of let it sit, so they flare up, and then when you pull it, they come back together. So there's, pretty much three parts of a jig that you want to, pay attention to. You got your hook protector, you've got your fringe, and then you've got whatever trailer you want to put. So for the first tip, again, a lot of your action happens in the fringe, and if you see that, they come along like this. So one thing that you can do is you want to trim it, and a lot of guys will say trim it just below the hook, because again, you don't want the fish grabbing this, and you want them to grab the hook. And these right here, if you don't leave them, they leave them long so you can pretty much customize them. People don't know that. If you leave them long like this, they'll kind of get all bunched up, and then you won't get the action you'll need. It's like too much mass, you know what I mean? So you want to trim them up. Here's one that I've done, and you can see here, a lot of times, like I said, they'll tell you to trim it just past the hook, but I've been noticing a lot of the pro guys, what they'll do is they'll stagger. So if you see that, you can see that, how they're kind of all cut at different lengths. You want to cut some short, some just below, maybe leave one or two long. That way, whenever they flare out, you've got kind of something, they haven't seen, a more diverse presentation. So that's the main thing. So you want to trim your fringe at least below the hook, and then you want to stagger them to give you a little bit more action. So second part, your hook keeper. This is to protect your hook when you're coming through structure. And a lot of times, if you leave it long, it creates too much of a shield, and it'll pretty much block the fish from getting a good hook set, or pretty much will pop the hook out of the fish's mouth. So one thing you can do, if you're in a lake that doesn't have a lot of structure you're going to get hung up on, take a pair of pliers and pop it out. It'll help you quite a bit, because then you just got straight exposed hook. Now, because there are places that just have moss or just open rock, and you don't have a lot of sticks and things that you got to worry about getting caught on. But if you do, you want to trim it. But what you want to do is you want to trim it at an angle so it creates kind of a ramp. You see that? So as you're pulling it through, it'll pop over. You still got a little bit. I trimmed this one a little short because that's how I want it, but you want it just about at hook level, and trim it at an angle so it gives a ramp for the structure to slide over and go, but then you still have where the fish can come down and boom, catch that hook. And the last part is your trailer. So these, if you haven't noticed, these are 6 Sense hybrid jigs. One of my favorite ones. Really sharp hooks that keep kind of catching on me. But so your trailer, a lot of guys, when I first started too, you'll take this is a Rage Crawl by Strike King, and they'll take them and they will just hook it on the back, which will pretty much leave your trailer way out here. So you got the fish is biting on it way back here, and then it creates too large of a presentation. You're going to be spooking the fish, so you don't want that to happen. So what you want to do, if you can see here, you want to pop the back of yours off and pretty much measure it so that the hook is going to come out right at the end. So just whether your beaver or your crawl or whatever, is just your appendages are hanging past the hook. That way, then when they go to bite those, because that's what they're going to go after, they're going to catch that hook. If not, you don't want them to catch way back here. And it gives you a tighter, more finesse presentation. You can see that? So, there you go. A lot of guys don't tell you that stuff. So, because I've been looking around trying to figure out how to make this thing work. These are a lot of those deals you kind of pick up on in videos that they don't really talk about. So again, you just kind of see that, how I kind of pop the back of that sucker off so it comes out right at the head. Right there. There you go. Well, that's 3 things, man. though I think that'll help a lot. It's helped me a lot, and kind of took it where it was, you know, an impossible task to catch something with a jig, where now I can actually have a little bit more trust in them. So I hope that helps, man, and get you what you need. Until next time.